What's going on, everybody? This is Jabril Salam
and Muhammad-Ramadan,
and you are listening to the Young and Muslim Podcast.
Asalaamu Alakum, everybody.
Meh.
This Ramadan, we have a very special series. We have a 5-part Ramadan series with an exclusive and very knowledgeable Imam. The goal of this series is to help everyone have the most successful, productive, and spiritually fulfilling Ramadan of your lives.
Now, during this series, we'll be going over how you can prepare as best as possible to have the most successful Ramadan possible. And then we'll be going in detail about the first 10 days, second 10 days, and third 10 days. And then finally, leaving it off with how you can take everything you learned during this Ramadan and hold on tight to the next Ramadan. So go ahead and get your notes ready.
Unless you're driving.
True. And make sure you guys get ready to have the best Ramadan of your lives.
Enjoy.
Salam.
Salams. Peace. Ramadan, come on in.
Oh, yeah. Many times have I heard that.
That is from the great Ali Abdul Salam.
Oh, yes. My pappy.
And we know when we hear that, the best month is approaching, Ramadan.
Absolutely.
And today we have a great brother, an Imam, an educator, a student of knowledge, we would like to say, who's always learning and yearning to help the youth. And today we're going to talk about Ramadan, how to prepare for Ramadan, the first 10 days, the second 10 days, and the last 10 days. And our favorite part, how to keep that great habit going and that goodness until next Ramadan. So,
right. Oh, yeah.
Before we drop any more gems, let's kick this thing off.
Oh, yes, Mama. You already know. Give me the countdown.
3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everybody? This is Jabril Salam.
And Muhammad-Ramadan.
And you are listening to the Young and Muslim Podcast.
Asalaamu Alakum, everybody. We got it out. It's going to be a great show.
Oh, yes. We gauged how good the show is going to be by the if that sets the energy, man. Right now, the energy is very high. Okay. The energy is good right now.
So like we said earlier, we have Imam, Munir, Muhammad come from us. Please make dua. Came from North Carolina. We do appreciate you making up the drive and meeting with us today. So, Imam, first question. How do you prepare for Ramadan? He laughs.
Well, I appreciate that. I would say with God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, that is the first thing is about intent. And like we have projected for this year, potentially April 23rd or April 24th, knowing that Ramadan will come in around that time, depending on where we are, where we sighted, be the 23rd or the 24th. So I make my intent before it even comes in, and to prepare myself, to get my mind right, get my spirit right, determine what I want to look at, what I want to study, what areas I need to improve in. For example, me and my wife may have a discussion, and because usually in Ramadan, I read the Quran and all in Arabic, and then me and my wife reads it together in English. So this year, we may have a discussion and decide if she wants to upgrade her studies, and we'll read it together in all Arabic, and pinpoint some key words from English to study and look at. So I make my intent because the Prophet taught us that Ramadan fasting is a shield, and the best way to utilize it that month, the special month, is to prepare, but not just physically but mentally. So that's how I get ready before it comes in. But once it comes in, I make my intent, just like everyone else, to fulfill the obligation, what God is asking, to refrain from food and drink, lawful relations, and having a bad attitude or disposition for those 29, 30 days.
So what are some other ways that people can get ready by setting their intent? Because as you just mentioned, it isn't just about the physical aspect. It's also the mental and the educational aspect of it.
Right.
What are some other ways that we can do that?
Well, you could, for instance, start reading short verses from the Holy Quran, which will stimulate your mind intellectually. If your desire is to read the whole Quran during the month of Ramadan, and say, well, that's too much. I don't have enough. I don't have time. Well, start now. Start reading it now.
So it like carry you into the month, and you're primed up already.
Yes. So
I think something else good to know is that the first thing that you mentioned was intent, right? Then after that, you went straight into reading, which surprised me because you didn't talk about the food.
Right.
You didn't talk about starving yourself in that battle, and we forget that Ramadan is the month of the what? The month of the book.
Yes.
So maybe we can take a step back here and tell us a little more about the history of Ramadan, or maybe not the history, but what is Ramadan? Because we, even Muslims, we may think non-Muslims, but Muslims like Ramadan, first thing I got to do is I'm losing weight.
Right.
That's the goal. That's the first thing. I can't eat, but it's before you even get to the food, there's so much more that you need to do.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the Ramadan literally means burning. So the process of refraining from food and drink is a burning sensation, is a detoxification situation. So Ramadan literally means burning, like the scorching sun on the earth. So those are those pangs of hunger, the pangs of the headaches, because that's what's happening. Your mind is being scorched, cleansed. Your stomach, acid is being removed from your body. So Ramadan gives you not only physical benefits, it gives you health benefits. And if you're engaging in reading the Quran and learning more about the life of the Prophet and the great companions, then now spiritual benefits. You see, so this is a blessed month. That's why it's called the blessed month, the blessed month of Ramadan. So Ramadan literally means burning. And so you just can't think about the burning sensation of food and drink.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you want to get your mind right, you want to get your thought pattern right, this is a perfect time, because now you're focused. You're focusing in. The first day of Ramadan, you get up early in the morning when you were not getting up early in the morning. Right. Because why? You say, I need to take this meal so I can get through the rest of this day. So where you would have in the past accepted to sleep in a little bit, he was like, nah, I can't do that. I got to get up and partake in what is called suhoor, early morning meal. So that God doesn't want us to like starve ourselves and hurt ourselves. There are many verses that's very clear that tell you that he doesn't want you to go through difficulty, but he wants you to meet the prescribed period.
Yeah.
So God don't want us to hurt ourselves in this spiritual discipline.
Because he wants you to grow from it. He wants you to benefit from it.
Exactly.
Not leaving Ramadan angry that you were hungry this whole time.
Right. So for the Prophet to say, for those of you who engage in fasting, those of you who are healthy, who are sane of mind, and physically can do it, then practice it. If you can't, then you're supposed to take the precautions or take the provisions that God has given and say, okay, I feed a person every day, or I feed, 4 or 5 people throughout the week, so that you still can engage in the principle of fasting, even though you may not physically be able to do it. You see, so you learn how to increase your passion and your desire to serve humanity, not just yourself.
Got you.
You see,
so it's just a holistic approach, and we're talking about how to approach Ramadan, how to get ready. But if you look at our calendar,
yes,
there are, I believe, a couple blessed months before Ramadan, and you didn't learn it as a kid. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But it's almost like we're getting ready for this month. But you actually missed the month of Rajab,
right? Which
is also very, very beneficial for you. And throughout that month, there's days that you fast,
right?
There's days that you read. So Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has prescribed and made it made it a way for us, given us a path to prepare for Ramadan.
Right.
But sometimes we don't do that until the night of or in the morning. Oh, wow, it's tomorrow?
Right.
Man, it's Ramadan.
Right.
I fell into this month. You know what
right.
I'm saying?
So what are those? I believe it's 2 months, right? What are those months, and what role do they play leading up into?
Well, you have what is called Shawwal, and you have Shaban. And Shaban is make sure Shawwal is in the front. Shaban is in the front. Shawwal is on the back.
Okay.
So you're, as Muhammad mentioned, you're encouraged to fast, study the life of the Prophet to get yourself in preparation. Then you do the month. You complete the month. Then afterwards, you're encouraged to fast 6 to 7 days. In Shawwal afterwards. So that you start after you finish the celebration, after you engaged in all this lighthearted activity and entertainment and what have you. Now you return back to the fast for 6 to 7 days. Well, God promises that He will forgive you your sins for the whole year. So now you are setting yourself on course to get through the rest of the year. So that's why I was encouraged by the Prophet that you fast some days before to get prepared. And then that's why he would smile, and they said you could see the molders in on his teeth. That when at the approach of Ramadan, he would say, "My friend is arriving," and they would be like, of course, asking the question, "Yeah, Rasulullah, what friend?" He said, "Ramadan, the month of purification, the month of endurance, that's my friend." And then at the end, he would be sad. And they would wonder, why you sad? Yeah, Rasulullah, why are you so sad? He said, because my friend is leaving me.
Well, you brought up something that was really interesting. I watch a lot of Animal Planet shows like that, right?
Okay.
And what you notice in nature, well, you notice in the Quran, Allah uses nature, a lot of similes and parables between nature and what we go through mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Yes.
You talk about how Ramadan literally means burning. And when you look at grass fires? When we look at the fires, like those, when it burns everything, you're thinking, oh man, like there's nothing there, but it actually gives the opportunity for new growth. And that's a big part of nature, that once everything is gone,
right,
it brings up new life for the animals to breed again and things of that nature. So for us, I took that internally as it's an opportunity for us to spiritually burn all the things that weren't really serving us to bring up new growth and new experience, spiritually, mentally, and all that.
Yeah, that's it. You're an excellent student, see?
Yeah.
That's it.
Or you're just a good teacher. We've been here 5 minutes and I learned something.
You see, but you're right on. And see, when you're reading the Quran, during that fast, that when you're refraining from something God said you can have, we have to build our muscles up to refrain from things that He says we shouldn't have. But see, in Ramadan, you still have to refrain from things He said you can have. So He's teaching you discipline and balance to not go to extremes, even in the things He said you can have.
Wow.
You see?
Especially with that burning analogy, I just thought about just all the bad habits that you burn before Ramadan and instilling and growing those new habits.
Yes.
People always talk about takes 27 days, 35, 62, whatever.
Yeah, there's a bunch of numbers out there.
I stick to 30, right?
or 29.
Yeah, more time.
I stick to 30. So we understand how long it takes to instill a habit. But how long does it take to kick a bad one out?
Well, for the person who's just practicing what they're practicing from a social science standpoint, is you give it any time limit that you want.
What do you mean by that?
When you said they say it takes 30 days to undo a habit that you've been doing. Okay, but that's social science. But scripturally, God says He wants you to refrain from those things to help you to grow closer to God. So if you sincere in that effort, that's why your intent and motivation is so important. Then God will give it to you as fast as you're ready for it.
Wow.
That's the mercy. That's part of the mercy.
So when setting your intention for Ramadan, let's say you have one thing in particular, like this Ramadan, I want to start doing this, I want to stop doing this. Is that a good approach to go into Ramadan? Like if you have one bad habit and you're like, I want this Ramadan to help me expunge this or add this to my arsenal. Is that a good way to use your Ramadan?
I think on the backside, yes. But on the front side, I'm going to use this month to increase my obedience to God.
Okay.
God says he's given us this early morning meal as a mercy. But I don't have to take it.
Yeah.
You're not obligated to take it. But you'll feel it later on.
And I felt it. Oh man, you miss for it, you be paying for it.
So when God gives you provisions and God makes things easy for you, embrace them. Because there will be difficult things that you have to endure. Why add on to the things you have to endure?
Wow.
You see? So that's why Allah says that I'm not asking you to do this to take you through difficulty. I want you to learn from the difficulty. And as you learn from the difficulty, I want you to become more obedient and loyal to me. That's a principle of life
Yeah.
that you use after. You did this for 29, 30 days, and then you're just going to let this go away in the 35th day?
Hope not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta hold yourself more accountable. You gotta say, hey, man, I worked too hard. This was endurance.
Yeah.
This was purification. Because after the first 10 days, which you asked me, discuss the first 10 days, what we looking for God's mercy.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Well, some argue, say first 10 days is mercy, the first 10 days of forgiveness.
Yes.
It's either one. But you feel it. You will feel it, whether you receive God's mercy or forgiveness or both.
So I think jumping right before, jumping into the first 10 days, I'm still trying to figure out, because this is specifically good for me and my experiences, just that mindset shift.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, okay, I want to get disciplined. I want to do this for God. I want to get right. So my intent is aligned, right? And everything else is good. They said intent is what causes motivation, or said like that's a root cause. Sometimes you're just not feeling it. Sometimes you just don't have the passion, and really you don't feel Ramadan until it starts.
Right.
And sometimes people even have the excuse like, well, I'm not even in a Muslim country. Like, it doesn't even feel like it's Ramadan anymore.
Right.
And that's a lot of things that happens, and they just throw their hands up, and it is what it is at that point.
Right.
They don't try to do their best. So let's talk more about the motivational factor and how to really be excited for it. You know what I'm saying? Have that passion that we can have not an ordinary Ramadan, but a great one.
Right. Well, see, Ramadan is an individual thing, but it's done in a collective spirit. So each individual has to make their intent, has to be motivated. Even in a good community, you all can't make your collective intent. We all intend to fast,
Yeah. Because if one person drops out, like, what you about to do?
So it's an individual. Let's say overhaul. The exercise is Siyam. See, Ramadan is Allah says He gave us the month of purification, the month of endurance, right? And the process is Siyam. Siyam is refraining.
Fasting.
Refraining from things that God said is lawful, things that are unlawful, from the daylight to sunset. Then you can, now that you refrain from these things, now you know how to put them back in their proper place. You can re-engage it. And you say you can't have it at all, but just from the most active and most busy part of your day, make your intent to fulfill the obligation to fulfill Ramadan, right? And the Prophet said, what is the reward for being obedient to God to do this? To make your intent, make sure your motivation is right. You're doing it for the right reason, not just to lose weight, not just to become more intellectually, reaching intellectual prowess, but that's what the Quran will give you. The Holy Quran has the ability to enlighten you and make you an intellectual that a world has never seen before.
Yeah.
The Quran has that ability. But you're doing it for more so your spiritual benefits.
There's a book by Napoleon Hill. I think it's Think and Grow Rich.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning of the book, he alludes that there's this hidden principle that you have to finish the book, and I feel like I still didn't get the first couple of times I read through it. But one of the things I thought about said maybe it's that you find God, and that like all of this can be. This can be a motivational factor, but it can't be it, because this is all fleeting, right? Like this is, you can get as X amount of money, but you'll still feel unfulfilled. You can go on as many trips as you want, but you can be unfulfilled. But with God, you can be filled with none of that stuff, right? And it's funny how with Ramadan, as you're saying, like all the material parts of it really don't matter much if you don't get the spiritual closeness to Allah.
Right.
And you notice a lot of successful people, they always say, I fasted, or I wake up earlier, or, I experience gratitude. All the things that we learn during Ramadan and in Islam in general, these successful people always, they hint towards it. But Allah says in the Quran, like, you will be the most successful of them because you are taking my commandments in. So it's very interesting to see how the material things that a lot of us want are directly in line with the spiritual things and the closeness to Allah that we think are completely separate, but they're really just like they're right there together.
Right.
And Ramadan is, I feel like, the time we see it the most.
Or you would like to.
Yeah.
You would like to see the most of it because I like what you said, Jabril, because as CEOs and successful people, when they do something, they have an intent to get better and not be the same person they were yesterday. When it comes to Ramadan, we can talk about, like I said, our generation. It's like, all right, this is my life on pause. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
All right, guys, can't see y'all for 30 days. I can't be hanging with y'all. Don't text me. Don't call me. But when May 24th come around, I'm back on the scene.
Right.
So when you go in that mindset, you legitimately just, the days don't even drag out. They go by quick, and you just want it to be over, and you're just fasting, you're not doing everything else. So I think people's mindset, even just going into Ramadan, they just think it's, all right, my life's on pause, when in reality, their life is almost on fast forward.
Right.
You're trying to get yourself back on track and do those things that you kind of missed.
Right.
So what would you say to the listeners right now saying, oh my God, that's me? What would you have to say for them?
Well, no, yeah, you're right on top of it. That's exactly what happens. That when you engage the discipline and you embrace the discipline, your life is fast forward. It's not stagnant. It's not on pause. God is the fact that you have made the commitment to engage it and do what God asks you to do. You're gonna overcome all the things that you were afraid of. You see, that's one of the great blessings of Ramadan, that you will realize, wow, I did that. Wow, I was able to do that, and I ain't had no water, I ain't had no food, I ain't had no relation, and I kept a good attitude about it. Right. You surprise yourself, and you be like, wow, God is awesome.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to experience this if I had not tried to be obedient to what God has said. I would not see myself being successful. So you choosing to stay away, I have a friend who's a Catholic, and a few times when we were getting ready to fast, the Lent period was close by, and he would ask me for advice. We're good friends, and he said, Imam Munir, I know I really can't do Ramadan, but we got Lent coming. And he said, what can I do? What would you suggest that I do to get rid of some of these, bad habits that I have? I say, well, first, I think Lent means, for me, let's eliminate negative thinking. So if you eliminate, the negative thoughts that you have, and you work at increasing your read. Basically, I told him, read the Bible, read scripture, and ask God to help you to see better. And then when you stop playing the Xbox game, or if you stop, because in Lent, they say they give up something, right? I'm gonna give up something that I really covet. So it's like, well, you want to give up the Xbox game, you want to give up going to movies, you want to give up this and that. Okay, but if you don't change your thinking, your behavior will never change.
So you can stop doing the thing, but if you mentally don't exit out,
right,
you're just gonna go right back there once it's over.
You're gonna go right back to what we talked about,
right there,
that habit. Mm-hmm. So you work so hard to try to get rid of the habit, but if you haven't changed your thought process, then the habit is still sitting there waiting because you've been conditioned. They athletes, y'all athletes. So I play ball and I play basketball, not the football. the real football, soccer, requires more leg work and running and all that. And so when you as an athlete, they call it muscle memory. Mm-hmm. Nobody got to tell you how to get your legs ready to do what you do, to dribble that ball and move. But your body has already built muscle memory because you've done it over and over and over again. How do you change that habit?
Mental.
You have to be conscious of it and tell your legs don't move.
Until it gets to the subconscious level. Yeah.
So that's the, Ramadan is so comprehensive, but yet simple, but yet comprehensive, just like our religion, Al-Islam. It's really simple, but yet very comprehensive.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening in to part 1 of 5 in the Ramadan series. And we hope that you learned everything that you need to know so that you can prepare for the best Ramadan of your life.
Hope you enjoyed listening as much as we did recording. Hit us up on social, on Twitter and Instagram, Young N Muslim. That's YOUNG, the letter N, Muslim. You can also listen to this on any major listening platforms such as SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, and iTunes.
Oh, yeah. So we'll be seeing you guys in the next episode where we'll be talking about the importance of the first 10 days of Ramadan. So we'll see you then.
Salam.
Salam.